never been till you put me down. Oh, I knew you were trouble.
Hi. Welcome to Programming 1. Welcome to Framework of Objects. Okay, in this particular section in Unit 4, this is the assignment that we're supposed to do. Class and object program. You're supposed to write programs. You're going to use a class and object for subtracting two numbers, and write a class and an object multiplying two numbers. And then they say write and save your programs in Notepad and send them to your instructor and explain why you chose the class and objects you used. Okay, so if you're going to do it that way, what you do is you come back to the page before. This is page 4. You go back to page 3. And then you just pretty much, you just write it out this way. And you say, okay, instead of return A plus B, you would do A minus B. And then instead of, and here's your object adds, you put object subtract, and the multiply would be A times B. And you'd be multiply here instead of add. But I think you can do it better than this, and I want to show you what you might consider doing. Because we're learning a program called Visual Basic. And I want to show you how to do it because it's a lot of fun once you get it. Okay? So when you bring up, last time we did a console project, and since we're going to be doing objects, I want to take you to the obvious place to go, and that is a Windows Form application. You know, we can do consoles over and over again if you'd like, but this is where a lot of you guys are going to like using. You're going to like using Windows Form. So I click that and click OK. So here you have a form come up. So what I want to do now is I want to display my toolbox, and the way I do that is I come up to View. Now I put some of these up myself. So if you're not seeing properties, what you can do is you can always go View, Other Windows, and you can put up properties. See right there. But I want to see my toolbox. So I click Toolbox. So my toolbox comes up. And now what I want to do is I'm going to do other things eventually, like put on labels, but first off I just want to put up a couple text boxes and a button. So I'm going to come down here to text box, put one up, put it up with another text box, and I'll put up a button. So let me just kind of line these up. Need some instructions here, and I'll just do that for now. I'm going to click up in this first button here. Let me put this out of the way. So in my properties, what I want to do is I want to rename this. So I come up here to where it says text box 1. I'm going to change that name to, oh, I don't know, text num1. So instead of box, I'm going to put num. So I know where I am when I'm doing my coding. That's all I'm doing, okay? So I come over here, I'm going to name this one text num2. And I'm going to name button 1. For now, I'm not going to put any name on the top of it now. I'm just going to call this one math. Okay, so now all I have to do is I have to go inside my form. So I can double click this, and that should take me inside my form here. So now I'm going to dim my variables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare my variables first. So I'm going to dim, and I'm going to call my first one num1 for my first number. I dim that as a double. That way, when I go and put my, I can put decimals in there, I can put fractions, whatever I want. So I'm going to just call this double. And where am I going to find this dim1 number to use in my programming? It's going to be in text num1, right? And what is that displayed as? It's displayed as text. So I'm going to dim my second variable here, the next text box, right? Text num2. I'm going to dim this as double once again, so they can put in whatever number they want. They can put decimals or fractions, whatever they choose, right? We're going to call this one text num2. That's the name of the second box, right? Text num2. And we're putting in any kind of text in there. Of course, if they're not going to put numbers in, it isn't going to work. But we don't have to worry about that. Let me show you. See? What are we doing? Text num1, text num2, and we're putting it here. So what am I saying? I'm just telling them what's going to go in here, right? What's going to go in here and here. So now I want to put an answer up, right? Dim answer 1 as double, and the first answer is subtraction, right? So I'm going to put in here what goes in the first one? Num1, right? Num1, and I'm going to subtract from it num2, right? So I'm subtracting this one from this one. So that's going to be my answer 1. And I'm going to dim answer 2 as double. And what is that going to be? Num1, because we're doing multiplication too, right? Multiplied by num2. I can put a space in there, so there's my variable declarations, okay? I don't need to declare any more variables than that. So now I go put in my function what I want to happen. When I click that button, I want a message box to pop up, okay? So I'm going to have message box, and I'm going to put dot show. So what I want the message box to show. Well, I want it to show two things, right? Answer 1. And I want to make it toString because it's easier to come out as a string, okay? Answer 1 toString, and then I'm going to put an ampersand in here. Answer 2. toString. Now, what do I want to name my text box here? We'll just call it math. My text box will be called math. So let's run this and see what this looks like. So I'll put in a number here. And I'll push button 1. So what do? You're looking at that number, you're saying, no way can the answer be 725. Well, you know the answer to the first problem is 7, and the second one is 25. So what are you going to do, right? So I'm going to have to change it around a little bit, aren't I? So this is how you do that. Okay, we're going to come before the word answer 1, and we're going to put in here a quotation mark here. We're going to put in here the two numbers, subtracted, equals I put a space in there. Now, and my quotation mark here, and I'll put in an ampersand. Okay? So now I'm going to come over here. So there's answer 1. So I'm going to put in another quotation mark, and I'm going to put in a couple spaces here, and I'm going to put in here, and the two numbers multiplied equals space. Then I'm going to put that out. Then I can put in my ampersand. So let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to debug it. Now let's see if this comes a little clearer. So I put in number 1, put in number 2, and I click that button. It says the two numbers subtracted equals 7, and the two numbers multiplied equals 25. Here. So what's wrong with this? Nothing. But you might want to put in a couple lines. We're not going to get into that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to change a couple things around. What I'm going to change around is I'm going to change around my form. Come up to my Visual Basic form. And first off, I'm going to call my button Math. So I click on button 1 and come down to text. See where it says button 1? I change that to say Math. So I click that for a math function, right? So now I'm going to put some instructions on my form. Very simple. All I do is I bring back my toolbar here. And I'm going to go just click label. Now I'm going to type in here display subtraction and multiplication of two numbers. So I'm going to put that's my explanation of what's going on here, right? So I'm going to put another label on here. Give me one number. Put the label here. Give me another number. Just type it in there, okay? And when you click out there, I can, all right. So I can put up another label. Click here for the results. So that's your basic thing. So I'm just going to move this where I want it. And you know what? You can color this up. So you kind of line these up. And you can make these different colors. You can change the design and whatever. I can come down here and I can resize this. And there we go. There's my form. All I have to do is run this again. Click debug. Start debugging. So here's what it looks like. Give me one number. Give me another number. Click here for results. The two numbers subtracted equals -1. And the two numbers multiplied equals 16. There you go. So that gives you a way to make a form that you'll like here. This is very easy to do. You're really going to like using forms. So let me save this. Let me show you how to do this. Instead of just clicking one save button, you want to save them all. You want to save the form, plus you want to save all 15 files that go with this, right? So you go File, Save All. So here they're asking you, what do you want to call this? We're going to call this, we're going to call this Unit 4. So click Save. And so now what you do is I can go find my folder here with Unit 4, and I can zip it and send it to Miss Hadley, right? I can just zip the whole dang thing, not have to worry about what do I send Miss Hadley, and she can figure it out, right? That's all there is to it. But once again, you know, this is all you're doing here. And see, this is all that they're telling you, but you're doing it. You're doing all this with Visual Basic, and you're doing this as a form, which is kind of fun because you can make it crazy. You can do all kinds of colors, all kinds of letters, and it's really a fun assignment. It's up to you how you want to do it, though. All right? So what's happened here is that Visual Basic Studio 10 has automatically put a folder in my documents called Visual Studio 10. Here it is. So open it up. I go under Projects. And there's my Unit 4 right there. All I have to do is I just right click it, click 7-zip, add to Unit 4-zip, and I can send that to Miss Hadley. See that? So that's all I have for you.